Hello, Adam Sutherland, fiddle player from Scotland here, playing Scottish fiddle music and a big, huge, lifelong student and fan of tune writing and all things creative regarding Scottish melody. I'm from the Highlands of Scotland. I'm broadcasting to you from this shed. Let's just say somewhere in Scotland. I don't want to dox myself, but yeah, I am somewhere in Scotland from this little shed. This is Errigie music. Errigie is the name of a tiny village near Loch Ness, near where I'm from. And yeah, I'm just sharing what I've found out so far on my journey into writing tunes. And my mission here is really to find out if my hypothesis is true. And my hypothesis is, for the amount of people playing traditional music, whether it's Scottish or Irish or Scandi or bluegrass, for all the people who are learning to play this music, there has to be more of you who could be having fun writing your own tunes. I just think that the percentage of folk writing tunes seems to be really small, and the percentage of places where you can go and learn how to write tunes compared to the percentage of places where you can go and learn how to play is wrong. So my hypothesis is, let's start a little YouTube channel dedicated to helping folk learn to write their own tunes, and let's see if this is true. And so far, I've been doing this since the start of January 2025. So far, I've made some new friends here on the internet, and I think I've converted a few of yous, and I feel like we're just getting started. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about me. And this week, I want to speak about a few things. One of them is going to be the time signature 7/8, which maybe, if you're like me, when I first heard about that time signature, it just filled me with dread and fear. I was just like, I think I just felt afraid, like when you first see a film with sharks in it and they're eating people. That kind of vibe. I'm just looking down here because I'm looking at my iPad to make sure I can see the chat, which hopefully is a thing that exists. Because if you are there and you feel like commenting, I would most appreciate it, because it's a little strange speaking to a little camera, but I'm getting more used to it. So also just to check that everything's working okay. So yeah, come and say hi if you're there. You don't have to. Otherwise, I'm just going to talk a little bit about 7/8 tune writing, and I'm going to start off by just kind of speaking about my own, how I ended up writing tunes. Like, I didn't start off my life going, I shall be a tune writer. I guess I started my life just mostly filling nappies. Sorry, but yeah, I don't remember deciding that I'm gonna write tunes. The way I got into it was, well, I started learning the fiddle. Oh, hey, a couple of photos to comments. Hello, Andrina. Hey, Gavin. Good evening to you both. A couple of regulars there. I have regulars. Can I be rude? Can I have a sip of tea? Would you guys mind if I had a sip of tea? I'll try not to slurp into the microphone, which is just there. I'm going to have a sip of tea over here. How awesome is this mug, by the way? My good friends Stephen and Heather gave me this. Oh, a cup of tea is an amazing thing. Right. I started learning the fiddle from a really inspiring elderly gentleman from the other side of Loch Ness, from where we were from. His name was Donald Riddle, and he taught a great many people in the Highlands. And I was very fortunate to get about 3 years out of him before he passed away. He was old. He was 82. I was like 7. I won't give him a whole upbringing musically, but that's how I got started playing the fiddle. And I'll maybe do another video with my kind of like entire musical upbringing, just in case that's interesting. But as a teenager, I remember just discovering that I could just make noise on the fiddle. Didn't have to be a tune. I could just kind of like make sound, and that after making said sound, which maybe wasn't a very nice sound, I felt better. And at this point, I'd never heard of music therapy. And I'm also going to just say here, I am not someone who has studied formally music therapy. I'm not a music therapist. I don't even think I could even say with great confidence what music therapy as an academic and professional thing actually is. I want to just say that. But what I feel like I can say is just to say my own experience of making sounds that make me feel better has been therapeutic for me. Now, this is not technically tune writing. This is just, I'm talking about making raw, maybe just horrible sound, which might not sound like something that you guys at home were thinking that you would ever want to hear, but that's kind of the point. It's not about necessarily making something nice for someone else to hear. And, but that was kind of my way into eventually crafting a melody. It wasn't the only way in, but for a lot of the time it was like, unhappy teenager, won't go into that, but this makes me feel better. And other times it was just like I would just stumble across some notes that made me feel excited. But a lot of the time I just still to this day get overwhelmed. Who doesn't? In this increasingly mad world. And then I pick up the fiddle and it's not about trying. I don't try. It's almost like not about you. When it goes well, I kind of bypass the kind of bit of me that wants to control. It's like driving and putting your foot down on the clutch and disengaging the engine. You're still moving, but the engine isn't doing it. And it's taken me a while to kind of refine this, and sometimes I make back steps and get worse at it again. But when it goes well, I just make the noises that make me feel good. I let the thoughts about what's going on in my head, particularly if something's upsetting or worrying, I let those thoughts run. And I just think about those thoughts. And I'm not really focused at all on what's going on with the fiddle. But what happens is that the sound that comes out the fiddle starts kind of sounding like what I'm feeling and what I'm going through. Maybe I'm replaying a situation. Maybe I'm thinking about something that's causing me emotions here or there. But eventually the sound starts to leak out. And then sometimes I just suddenly, how I was saying I wasn't necessarily focusing on what I was playing. Sometimes I'll just hear something coming out the fiddle that like knocks my focus of what I was thinking about and distracts it, and suddenly goes, whoa, what about those notes? Suddenly I'm like, whoa, what was that? I like that. And then my brain kind of goes, maybe those few notes, maybe I could kind of make those into something. And those notes are so often, if not always, kind of like really, that's how I feel. Yeah, those notes there. Like in, how you get the blues, respect to the blues. It's like the art form, those blues notes are, I guess you would say, or, blues musicians would say it's about getting off their chest, emotional difficulty with actual like frequencies. I'm not a blues musician, but I do love those frequencies. Anyway, I find that when I'm thinking about all this stuff and I'm just not thinking about the fiddle, that suddenly, often I'll just hear some notes come at the fiddle that make me go, whoa, what's that? And then I kind of keep going with that and write a tune. And at the end of all of that, I usually always feel the same way, which is just empty. Just like there's been a serious bit of weather that's blown in down the loch, and it's been rain, hail, wind, whatever. A squall has come in and gone, blah, but now it's gone and the sun comes out. That's how I feel. I called my first solo album Squall, kind of for that reason. I wrote a tune called Squall because I just love that weather. But yeah, that's how I feel like afterwards. I feel great, and that's why this video is one of my points with this video is just to say, for me, it's often been at its best a therapeutic tool, which I didn't set out to learn. I didn't set out to study music therapy. I just stumbled across it. I just kind of discovered that making these noises made me feel better. Like in the same way, I guess, as maybe someone else might find it therapeutic to boot a football. Or someone else might find it therapeutic to, I don't know, solve a maths equation or fire an arrow at a target. That was just what I found. It made me feel better. And to go back to my first point about, I feel that there must be more tune writers out there. Maybe it's incumbent on me as the person, or one person, who's trying to kind of essentially sell the idea of tune writing to people who maybe haven't tried it. Is maybe it's not even about writing the tunes. Maybe it's just about what making noises on your instrument that make you feel better, what that can just do for your mental health. And in this age that we live in, where it always seems like there's more crazy stuff going on, I'm sure every generation feels like, oh, the world's more crazy than it's ever been. And also we live in a world where it's so easy for bad news to get to you. It's easy to get to you via your phone, but it's also easy to get to you. You know, really get to you and knock you off. I've lost track the amount of times I've been having a pretty reasonably good morning or afternoon, and then I've just decided to open my phone, and then I've read something, and then suddenly I'm having a horrible day because of something I read. And I keep thinking, if I hadn't have opened my phone, I wouldn't. Yeah, anyway, we live in a world where it's just, there's a lot of stuff that can be upsetting, and it's so easy for it to get to you. So you can either, like, I guess, stop it getting to you by just like chucking your phone in the river, or you can maybe deal with the emotions, or maybe your emotions aren't anything to do with the wider world. Maybe you're just going through something, but like you can just, I think this, well, I know for me this has been a really effective way of me rebalancing myself. I was slightly hesitant to say that this is what I was doing the video about, in case I was kind of coming across as someone who's just like mental, crazy, unhinged. But by and by, I'm not. I have moments of strong emotions. Who doesn't? But what I'm trying to say is that I am a considerably more on the rails person than I perhaps would have been without this. And maybe that speaks to someone out there. Maybe there's someone out there who's like, I don't know, maybe that could help. Right. So there you go. That's my hard sell on why tune writing could help you. Make some noise. See what noises make you feel better. Keep making the noises, and maybe that's all that happens. My best tunes that other people seem to like have always come about usually from me doing that. I wasn't trying to write a tune, I was just getting something off my chest. Alright, so I'm going to move on to a slightly more technical thing. That's the 7/8 time signature. Actually, just before we do that, no, I'll play you the tune in 7/8, and then I'll come back and talk about how I discovered 7/8. This is a tune that I wrote when I was 19. I, like many teenagers, was going through the breakup of my first proper relationship and enormously upset. Concurrent with that process, I had discovered the time signature 7/8 after hearing the Mike McGoldrick band for the first time, and just been stunned at the sheer level of musicianship, but also, what is this? Is it a jig? And I just didn't understand it. And like I said at the start of this, even just the number 7 filled me with fear, because I wasn't brought up as a traditional musician with the number 7 being a feature anywhere. It was 2, like 2 4s, 6, 6 8s, 4 4s, 9, 7 was not there. So here is this tune in 7/8, and I'm gonna have another sip of tea. And I just didn't get it. Not only did I not understand it, I didn't know how to go about beginning to understand it. I just was stumped. I'm someone who doesn't really learn things particularly quickly. I very often am slower at learning something than everyone else around me. I'm okay with that. I don't really mind. I think this is actually, I must say, one of my strengths is that I don't mind being the last person to work something out in a room. And that's something I'm quite proud of, actually. So often I just won't get something and everyone else will get it. But what I do know is that if I really want to get it, then eventually I will understand it. And sometimes it takes me like years to understand stuff. But if I really want to, I will get the hang of it because I just won't ever let go. And then when I do get the hang of it, I understand it pretty completely. So with 7/8, I went from just like, I don't get it. I think it was a total of about 3 weeks. I don't think I thought about much else. You may reflect that that's perhaps why the relationship went down the tubes. Anyway, I just eventually, as quite often happens in my own learning, I've stumbled across a new way of looking at the problem, or a new way of framing it. And when I found that, it all kind of came together. And this is what I discovered, was that I was trying to think of it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, blah, blah, blah. Really, it's just 2s and 3s rhythmically. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. For those of you who were here last week, I did a video on 5/8, and I was saying a little bit about this. So forgive me for repeating myself, but this was my 7/8 was my gateway drug, if you like, into weird time signatures. When I discovered that it's 3, 2, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Well, actually, the tune I was listening to, Waterman's by Mike Oldrick, was 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, ba 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 da ba da dim dim da ba. And I finally got that. And in the moment of it all kind of coming together, I guess I went into a state of flow, or whatever you call it, and I remember hearing this. I found the rhythm first, which was not just simply 7/8 1 2 1 2 1 2 3. It was the grouping of 2 2 3 followed by 3 2 2, because that's what I also realized was it didn't have to always be 2 2 3. It could be 3 2 2, and maybe alert viewers at home are going, oh, that means there's another combination which would be 2 3 2. I've never really found that that's got me excited yet. Maybe one day. But on this day, walking around the west end of Glasgow, I found 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 immediately followed by 1 2 3 1 2 1 2. I'll say that again. 1 2 3 1 2 1 2, new bar. 1 2 1 2 1 2 3. That just sparked off in my brain as a rhythm first of all, and just after I got the hang of it with the rhythm, I started. It wasn't a huge leap to put notes onto the rhythm. So this tune started coming out. Here's the rhythm. That's 1 2 3 1 2 1 2, followed by 1 2 1 2 1 2 3. So you get this rhythm. 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Dabba da deep dab deep dab dabba da dabba da deep dab deep dab dabba da. So all of it came together. Oh my goodness, it's 3s and 2s. Oh my goodness, it doesn't have to be the same grouping each time. Oh my goodness, what if you go 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3, and then the tune just kind of came flying in, and I started playing this first part of a tune, and as I was writing it down, pen and paper, back in those days, not even a voice memo app, just pen and paper, as I was writing it down, having worked at the first part or heard the first part, the second part started interrupting the process. It was really intense. I did 4 parts, and after the 4th part I was hearing a 5th part start to come, and I was just too tired. I just said stop, I need to just, I'm too tired now. So here's the tune, and that was my opening phrase. Well, I'll just play the whole tune, yeah. It's a bit mad. So there you go. That's the tune. I then wrote it and went home up north to see my folks, and I met my dad, Alex Sutherland, also a fiddle player. Started playing a year before me, and he's the reason, mostly, if not entirely, that I played a fiddle, because he decided to go and learn the fiddle. I met my dad and I said, "Dad, I've written a tune, 7/8 time signature." And he said, "Oh, I've just come back from a lady's house on the Isle of Skye. Her name is Christine Martin, and actually she's achieved an enormous amount in her life, publishing books of tunes. In fact, you should go to her website, Tyne Chade, scotlandsmusic.com, and she's been providing books of tunes for decades and has just done so much for Scottish music, actually, in Scotland and abroad. Friends of the family. So my dad said, "Oh, I've just been visiting Christine Martin, and I helped them slaughter a pig." So he said, "Why don't you call it 'My Dad Killed Christine Martin's Pig'?" So I did. And that's what the tune's called. So I didn't name it about my first ever relationship breakup. You don't have to. But it does have a slightly frenzied feel to it, and let's face it, killing a pig's probably not going to be particularly relaxing for anyone, particularly the pig. Yeah, I hope that you're not hearing the noise from outside, by the way. It's summertime in Scotland and beautiful summer's evenings, children playing. Okay, so yeah, that's the tune. And I felt like I went from feeling horrendous before writing that tune to just like super excited. I'm also going to chuck in another thing that I've learned in my tune writing and music learning journey, which this tune crystallized for me, and this lesson has never been proven wrong by everything I've found out so far. And it's this: I realised that I would not have written the tune, definitely not written a tune in 7/8, definitely not written that tune in 7/8, if I hadn't been deliberately trying to understand 7/8. Or to take a more broad view of it, I wouldn't have written that tune if I hadn't learned the new skill and skills. I just wouldn't. I couldn't have written a tune in 7/8 because I didn't understand it. I wrote this tune which I was really happy with as a direct result from furiously trying to understand something that repeatedly confused me, and I just didn't get it. So I just thought, what's the conclusion here? I often do this in life at certain key moments. I go, what's the lesson here? What is the takeaway? That's a question I would actually encourage all of you to ask if you're learning how to do anything new. I'm teaching myself music, and often I have to just go, what is the takeaway? What is the biggest lesson here? And it's this. It's just that if I want to keep writing music, if that's what I want to do, then the best way to do that is just to keep learning. And learning stuff, for me, is hard. I'm sure it's probably hard for anyone, depending on what you try. It's not easy, and it's not necessarily pleasant. It's mucky. It's about making mistakes, about continually finding out that you don't get it as much as you would like, and just never giving up. And I just realized, yeah, if I want to keep writing, I must never stop learning. It's the closest I've come to getting a tattoo, because I thought I must never forget this. But two things: I just don't want a tattoo that badly. I can't say what's right for someone else's body, but for me, I just thought, what if you end up just not liking that? Anyway, and secondly, I thought, actually, maybe this is something that you shouldn't get tattooed. Maybe you should just force yourself to remember this and just continually club yourself with this thought. So that was it. The realization that if I want to keep writing, I should keep learning. And then I just thought about it some more, and I may have said this before on my podcast. I've done so many of these now that I can't even remember what I've said, and I often repeat myself. Is it just like your mind is like a pool? This is advice for you guys as creators. It's like water. You know how if you have a pool of water and it's got no new fresh water coming into it, it goes stagnant. And I think our minds are like that. If you have fresh water flowing into the pool of water that is your mind continually, well, what happens is you have to have water flowing out the other side, right? And I view creativity and artistic output like that. If you keep learning new stuff, actually pouring more and more water into your pool, eventually you can't help but have stuff come out. Whereas if you want to write stuff or be a writer, say, of anything or something creative, and you're not learning stuff all the time, but you are expecting yourself to be producing stuff creatively all the time, well, I guess what happens is your pool becomes empty. You have a drought, no more ideas. I just think that human creativity works, well, sorry, maybe not human creativity, but my own creativity definitely works best when there's just new stuff all the time. And to my embarrassment and shame, I did actually end up forgetting that lesson, and I didn't know I'd forgotten it. I didn't know that I had stagnated. I didn't know that I'd plateaued until the pandemic hit. And for this reason, I personally am really glad of the kick in the bum that the pandemic gave me. I'm not saying I think the pandemic was a good thing. Obviously, it was horrendous and people lost loved ones and livelihoods. But for my own life, I thought I need to find something positive to salvage from this situation, and I went back into learning. And for me, it was it's about learning how to record myself at home, and I would not be sitting in this studio here if it wasn't for the pandemic and setting some really insanely high goals for my own writing. But as a result of that, I've written lots of music since then that I wouldn't have written, and I've just stumbled across loads of musical ideas that I wouldn't have. It's also easier for me to write a tune now if I decide to actually try to do it. Like I've been deciding to try and write tunes more deliberately recently for tune commissions, and that's easier because I've just got so much new stuff flying into my head. I'm not sitting here with an empty pool which has got nothing in it. My brain is full of new information, and I just think people are happier when they're learning stuff, whatever it is. Anyway, I'm just going on mad tangents here. Have I covered all the things I would cover? Mental health, emotional well-being. Maybe this could be a thing that helps people. I would say I often made horrendous noises in the fiddle. So maybe whatever your instrument is, maybe find a space where no one can hear you. I have lots of these. These are mutes you put on the fiddle and they make it really quiet. Quite like a fiddle mute, but whatever it is, just make your sound. And there's no wrong answer for that. There's no right or wrong. Well, actually, there is right. It's just whatever sound you feel, and whatever you feel is correct, which is enormously freeing, actually. And there's not that many musical environments where you can say with absolute confidence that what I think is correct, and there's no other authority higher than that. And I've found it helpful to really carve that out. I almost just imagine I've got this like safe all around me is this shield, and inside it is a musical safe space, and I just go, right, whatever noise I feel like making is right, and there's no one who can tell me that's wrong, because I'm going with what I feel, and what I feel is right. And that just immediately, that mindset puts me like feeling like, first of all, I'm in the driving seat. It reminds me that there's no greater authority because I'm making the sound that I want to make. I'm also usually away from someone so no one can hear me. And that's just a great place to start accessing what's going on inside you. And then I just let my mind wander and just play whatever. And even if no tune comes out of that, like, that's okay. It's still been worthwhile. There was a great comment on the Instagram. I put up a video advertising this on Instagram, and a great comment saying this lady was asked by her friend, what's the point in learning to write tunes when all the great music has already been written? And she felt that this process where you just make noise, make tunes, make anything because it helps you is a great answer to that question. That was a really interesting bit of insight. Which again is why I'm kind of feeling like, for me, tune writing is something that I got into this writing tunes not by trying to write tunes, and I still reserve the right to just make my own noise and my own creative safe space just for me. If a tune comes out, that's nice, but first and foremost, it's just me and the sound and what's going on in my life. It's deeply personal, and no tune has to come out. But if a tune does come out and you have really, really gotten to the place where the sound you're making is deeply personal, because the stuff you're thinking about is deeply personal, and a tune comes from that place, then those tunes have usually got something. The thing that I think that all really powerful tunes or pieces of music have got in common, let me know what you think about this, is like they've got direction. They're going somewhere, and that's what going to this place of just making your noise for you, not for anyone else. If a tune comes out from that factory, from that forge, particularly if you've maybe not been in a very balanced emotional state, maybe you're excited or maybe you're unhappy, if it comes from there, that's a good start for a tune. And like I say, I didn't study music therapy. I don't know if any of this is what you would learn if you were to study music therapy. I would love to speak to a music therapist, but for me, first and foremost, it's always been therapy. And the first time I heard about music therapy, my first thought was, isn't it all therapy? And I just assumed that everyone was doing this. I just assumed everyone everyone's doing it just to get stuff off their chest. And then I remember noticing that so much of education was not about this. It was about, great stuff, chords, learning about composers, learning about doing stuff for exams, learning how to pass exams. But absent from all that was any how to make your life better. And that's what I think is maybe the strongest argument for writing your own tunes, making your own sound, is it can make your life better. And I feel that that's missing from a lot of education. Yeah. I don't think I can add any more to that. Yeah. So 7, 8, whatever time signature, your noise, make your noise. Go make your noise. And after 40 minutes, I think I'm going to say cheerio. I just noticed a comment. Andrina, you said you were having a cup of tea. I noticed that you've retracted your comment. Does that mean that your cup of tea wasn't so hot? I'm not sure. I just saw it. I meant to comment on that. My apologies. But thanks, Andrina. Thanks, Gavin, for jumping in the chat there. I see that there's more folk watching, not commenting. You do not have to comment. You never do. There's no pressure. I'm just glad to see that some folk are, tuning in. Yeah. Oh, someone else has just joined. I'm just winding up here, whoever you are out there. Yeah, send me some feedback if any of this makes sense or doesn't make sense. I'm just feeling my way as well. I view myself as a perpetual student, because if I don't, then I start losing my vibe. If I think I know it all, then that's the end. Whereas if I think I'm up and coming, I'm a student, then that just removes any hubris or ego, and those are definitely enemies of creativity as well. Hey Dreamangas, I'll just read your comment. Creativity in writing being sacrosanct. Yeah, it's your relationship with sound. It's your relationship with yourself. It's here's another thing which I don't know if I've got a really itchy nose this evening, just in case you think I'm like what is it you're supposed to, someone scratches on their nose, they're lying. You must think he doesn't believe any of this, but I've just got a really itchy nose. Meditation is not something I could claim to know about, but I feel like for me this is a meditative process. It really is. But it's not just thinking about stuff, because the sound that comes out is you're letting it go. It's leaving your system. That process of just your clutter from your mind working its way out through sound, that's just really helped me. And sometimes it leads to a tune, and as a result of a tune coming from that place, that tune has got some oomph to it, and you can't fake that, because that place of your real self, your real vulnerable self, I guess you would call it in modern parlance, being vulnerable in that way because you did it on your own for no one else. When you wrote that, when that came out, that's the best. That's the place. I think. Hey Andrina, just thought it was a silly comment. No, listen. Anyway, have you heard my chat? Right, I'm gonna say cheerio. That was 43 minutes. So thank you all for tuning in. I'm not going to be here next week because next week I'm driving up to the Isle of Skye with my lovely wife Emma. We're going to be teaching a course called Strings and Things. We've been invited to teach there by the Gaelic College in Salmarostig. They're hosting us. It's their course. And we're going to just have fiddles, cellos, hopefully, violas, double basses, and maybe some other stringed instruments. And we're going to just be playing and arranging tunes for all those instruments. And so I won't be here next Sunday. but the following Sunday I will be. So yeah, it's one of the few Sundays I'm not going to manage. But yeah, most Sundays I'm here broadcasting to you somewhere from this. No, broadcasting you from this shed somewhere in Scotland. I'll play the tune again. Enjoy the squall. Cheers, everybody. Thank you, Andrina. Thank you, Gavin. Thank you. Hey, Caroline. Hey, Gavin. Yeah, thank you all. Dream Angus, thank you all. Thank you all. Don't be silly, Caroline. You don't have to say sorry for being late. You love the idea of getting the clutter out. Yeah. And you know what, by the way? See me just talking this out like this. I work out stuff for myself that I wouldn't have worked out if I hadn't said it, and I haven't quite thought of it that way before, but it is like getting the clutter out and being empty. Oh, yes, we'll see you on Sky. Awesome. Yes. Okay, guys, have a great 2 weeks, those of you who I won't see, and I'll see some of you at least next week. Thank you all. So for me, Adam Sutherland, somewhere in Scotland, Ergy Music. Goodbye.